Rambles.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Ryder here. Wanted to do a quick little video discussing what is upcoming for our fall waves of Beast Morphers toys. A lot of this stuff we obviously already know about. I mean, we know about all of it, technically. But just kind of going over what's going to be out there to look forward to in the coming months. ToyWiz lists most of these as September, and if you've ever used ToyWiz, you know that that could be right or somewhere in the neighborhood of right. Like sometimes I've seen them be spot on for the month, sometimes it shows up way before or way after, but basically this is what to expect for their fall waves. Kind of like, I'm kind of curious because again I have less experience with Hasbro's cycles than I do Bandai because I collected Power Rangers and Ben 10 for all those years. So we all knew like, okay, Black Friday, the next year stuff starts coming out. Some of the fall stuff would start trickling out late summer, as early as July sometimes. So who knows, these could start showing up in August. There could be stuff that trickles out. You know, we've gotten a couple little tidbits here and there, like Roxy and Jax is part of the, you know, like First Wave Plus or Wave 1.5, but you know what I mean. Like we could get some of this stuff trickling out. And a couple of things I'm about to talk about, I actually, when I looked at ToyWiz initially a little while back, it said like July, and then all of a sudden they moved to September. But one of the first things I wanted to address is the main Zords are going to be coming out in the fall. They're individually released, you know, meaning they'll probably do, I'm gonna guess, they'll probably eventually do an all-together set of the core 3, maybe even all 5, like, you know, an event style, maybe around the holidays or something. I mean, that's nothing confirmed or anything, that's just a hunch that they'll probably do something like that. But for right now, we are getting individual releases for red, blue, yellow, gold, and silver. So basically, more or less the way they did it for Go Busters, which was individual releases. I believe blue and yellow came in a 2-pack though, but they're being released individually, which kind of makes sense because they have the whole gimmick of like, hey, they're multiple modes, and especially ones like, ones like red and gold where they're basically little robots on their own. See? So yeah, those are coming in the fall. I wanted to address that and talk about it because, you know, I've gotten a lot of questions of like, where's the main Zords, like especially once the show started airing, and they had said at Toy Fair, which not everyone, you know, might not have paid attention to, they said that the main Zords are going to be coming out in the fall. We just, for right now, got those little statue-esque non-painted ones, and then that's it. Speaking of Zords, we are also going to be getting the Ultra X Zord, which is kind of like those individual ones I was just talking about. It's like larger, obviously, because it's the Ultra Zord, but it's already all put together. You know, it's not a transforming gimmick one, and its whole thing is like sounds and stuff like that and electronics. So it's kind of like a midway offshoot of the two. So it's not a transforming Zord, it's not just a Zord that sits there and be Zord. It's kind of one of those larger ones that has lights and sound. So that's supposed to come out in the fall. That was one of the ones I saw tagged for July, which I thought was weird just because the Ultra Zord is probably going to debut then, but I mean, they might not be going by that. Also on the list is those Red Ranger claws, which we just recently got a look at, that are going to be in the show for sure in the second Beast Morphers opening from the international spoilers. You know, the 2 Red Ranger claws he uses. I think that was another one I saw tagged for July, but now it says September, so we are going to be getting those. We are going to be getting big figures for gold. I believe, I've only seen the silver picture, but I'm sure gold will be there because we're also getting Yellow Ranger, which I just recently saw. I didn't know about that one, and I try to follow everything. Like, I just kind of hoped we would get yellow so we could get the core team, but I'm happy to see that. So we are going to be able to complete the core Go Busters Beast Morphers team plus our Dark Buster Blaze Ranger, so that's neat. I'm happy about that. We also have other figures on the horizon, which we already obviously knew about from Toy Fair, like Gold Ranger, Silver Ranger. We got some other villains on the way. We've got the Red Ranger in armor on the way, which will probably be the next substantial wave. And then, of course, we have the Lightning Collection Wave 2 coming at some point soon-ish. We should, I feel like, maybe even by the time this video goes up, depending, but we should at least hear about that pretty soon, which is supposed to be Magna Defender, MMPR Pink, and Beast Morphers Red and Gold, if I recall. But that is like the main stuff we know about right now to look forward to in fall. You know, there could always be surprises. I feel like I'm expecting a couple of these little things to trickle out. Oh, I almost forgot to. We're expecting a second wave of those Micro Morphins, the little mini guy collectible figures. I imagine there'll be some more Play School stuff too. I haven't heard anything or seen any listings or pre-orders or anything like that. I'm kind of curious, have you guys seen those in stores? The only thing I've seen in physical stores is the little Mighty Mugs or whatever, the muscle play school guys. The only place I've seen the Zords and the little minifigures, both the 2-packs and the blind packs, are on Amazon or online stores. I have never seen those in person. I really only have Targets and Walmarts here that I can check. I know some places have things like Meijer, but those are the only two in my timeline that are places that carry Power Rangers regularly. A couple Kroger stores do, but I haven't seen them there either. So yeah, I'm just kind of curious about that. As far as the Zords, you know, coming out in the fall, it's definitely kind of a weird choice. It made this feel more like a soft launch. There was a lot of people I've seen asking me and other people, like I said, where they are, especially after the show premiered, because I think those of us that follow it are conditioned to having already having them before they came out. I'll be curious to see how the schedule goes next year once, you know, Hasbro's already out and we don't have to wait for any sort of contract lapses between Bandai and Hasbro. If maybe we'll start seeing Season 2 stuff hitting the shelves before the show does. You know, in a more usual pattern. But honestly, if it were me, I would have at least just released Ace on his own and then saved the rest of them for the fall. Like Gold and Silver makes sense because he's basically debuting now and then in the fall fully with the Zords and everything. But then you could like release Red and then on the back be like coming this fall or coming this September or whatever, and then get people hyped for it. But then you give them something more than the little cheap Zords. Because I don't mind those existing, I just feel it sets this weird precedent, this weird expectation for your first wave, especially for new fans that are coming in. But anyway, that's about it. As always, if there is any new updates, any new toy updates or anything like that to expect, I will keep you guys posted. And of course, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell with notifications for all my videos. Till next time, Dawson Ryder, signing out.